Hello and welcome to the Velocity program. So let's talk about week 1, discover and declare. In this module, you're awakening to the idea that you have a goal, that there is more for you. There is more to life than this, right? So you're awakening to that. You also have a new level of awareness around possibility, what's possible for you, what's possible for the world, the magic of all of that, and expansion, right? So you're basically going from tunnel vision to like, oh my gosh, there really is more. And then acknowledgement. So discover and declare, acknowledging there really is more for me, and I'm going to speak that true. I accept that this is true for me, and I'm going to go for it. When you have a goal, yes, it's the outcome might be dreamy. That's why we set the goal. And that's why we would decide to go for the goal, because we desire the outcome or we desire the results. But the results are very temporary in reference to the whole scope and sequence of setting a goal, following through on it, and getting there. Intentions and commitments, it's much stronger than the result or outcome. Having an intention and a commitment is longer lasting and will actually outlast reaching the goal. Give you an example, like with writing a book. If my goal is to publish a book, that's great. It doesn't end there. It's quite literally the beginning. Now we have to share it and sell it and talk about it and teach on it and preach on it and interview about it and get it out there. Maybe you build a course around it, whatever. If my intention is to just have a book, then it ends. Is there an intention to make money with that book? What's the impact I want to make with that book? So what are my intentions and commitments? Two more examples. Parenthood, having a baby. A lot of people have the goal to have a baby, and then they forget there's parenthood after. And you're like, oh shit, right? And so you arrive to the goal, but it's really just the beginning. Here's the next one, marriage. A lot of people have the goal to be married, to find their person, their significant other. Wedding day is very different than marriage. And so now it's just the beginning. So having intentions and commitments for that longer process is really what's going to drive you to stay committed when things get tough, because things will get tough. And so you need to get clear. We're going to set the goal. Tell me about the goal. And that's actually the next step here, is drain the well, meaning get the whole goal on paper or talk to somebody about like the fullest vision. If it were to happen perfectly and wholly, how would it go? How would it look? How would it manifest? What would the results be? What would life be like? Declare the fullest vision your way, meaning if you had 100% say so, how would it go? A lot of people, and bless all of us, I don't even think most of us know we do it. We set goals and establish the vision for our goals based on what's available, based on what we know. So it's really challenging to declare a vision bigger than your brain, bigger than your understanding of the world. However, that's what a coach is so valuable for, because in this sense, you might say, I'd like to be an Amazon bestseller. I'd like to sell 10,000 books because that seems really big for me. But if I were a New York Times bestseller, I would be selling millions of books all over the world in multiple languages every day and writing more books or whatever that looks like. The dream, the goal is actually bigger than you would normally set out for, because you're going based on your current reality or your current level of skill or awareness or capability or imagination. Some of us just don't really have very, very expansive imaginations, like how wildly successful you can actually be. And so draining the well on your vision, meaning get it all out to your liking and beyond, is what's really going to help you then say, what are my commitments and intentions inside of that? If I really had that, how would it be going? And step 3 here says create clarity. A lot of people say they want $10,000 months because that's sexy, or $100,000 years as far as revenue, right? Why? What for? What would you spend that on? Probably heard me say a million times, vague goals, vague results. So if you're like, yeah, I want $10,000 months, like, oh, okay, but your budget might really only be like $4,000 a month. What are you going to do with that extra $6,000? I agree. I want you to have months like that because that's awesome. You can just have money in the bank, but at the same time, what are your bigger goals? Is it to buy a house? Is it to live a certain lifestyle? Is it to save a certain amount of money, invest a certain way? Getting very clear about all of that is what's going to help it manifest, and it will refine your decision making. Meaning, if you know you want to have $1 million in assets, whether that be investing in real estate and whatever else, then spending a certain amount of money on like a car or jewelry or a purse or a whatever, or a vacation, that might not be in alignment with your bigger commitment. So money is an easy one with budgeting because we have a lot of decision making to do in that area, but this can be inside of relationship. If you want to have a marriage and a relationship, how would you be behaving in alignment with that? Would you have 4 boyfriends? I don't know. Would you have none? Would you never go out? What does it look like to be taking the steps in alignment with that desired outcome? Like when people talk about getting paid to be themselves, like what does that actually look like? How many hours a week will you work? How will you work? When will you work? Where will you work? Getting all of that really, really clear is what will have it manifest very, very clearly, and aligning with your intentions and commitments, and just living and breathing those intentions and commitments. Not only saying I'm like checking the box and doing it right, it's live in alignment, period. Step 1, 2, 3, 4 of that is get it all written out on paper. That's a huge piece of the puzzle, and mapping out support structures. So having it all written out on paper really shows you, I like to call that dumping the puzzle on the table. You would not take a puzzle and put it together by taking one piece out at a time and just setting it on the table and trying to fit those together. It's much more of a collective process than that. So we need to know all the pieces at play. If you're anything like me, I like to put the border together first. So I now have a structure and a framework, and then I might put all the pieces for the sky together and the water and the trees. And then I'm putting it and I'm feeling the progress and I'm mapping it all out. And so I can make decisions in alignment with that. I'm not going to just like take all the sky pieces and put them at the bottom of the puzzle. I know that the sky is at the top of the puzzle. So you can really make this a simpler process by getting it out and getting it clear. And then mapping out support structures. If you're mapping out support structures towards your goal and you have that goal to end up married, you might say, I'm going to go on so many dates a month or a quarter. I'm going to go out on so many second dates, or whatever that might be. You're going to start to plan having something that encourages you to show up and to help process when things get hard. Because if you've laid out that destination and you're walking along the path of getting where you're going and you bump into a brick wall of resistance or a brick wall of trauma or repressed emotions, now you're like, oh my God, I should quit and go home and turn around. No. What are the support structures you decided when you set out on this journey? How can we employ those support structures to keep you going beyond the resistance or the barrier? This is discover and declare. These are the steps. And so you're declaring that desire. And then you are mapping out how you're going to get there. And so tune into the next module, which is clear and release. This is a fun one. I can't wait to see you there.